So just a bit of background, a bit about me. So my name is Joel Markham. I'm the CEO and founder of Icotech Services. Just a bit of a history of myself and then Icotech. So I started way back when in PMO in Dual Coming Welsh Water. Remember doing project plans on Microsoft Project, doing schedules, and kind of doing Excel spreadsheets and building kind of portfolio plans and supporting the program delivery team at Dual Coming Welsh Water in their transformation program. I went into Babcock International Group, but I missed one. Before then, I went into Lloyds and did a bit of project management in Lloyds and was leading on the TSB sale of Lloyds Bank, which is quite cool. And then went into Babcock International Group, where I spent 5 years there, moving around a little bit, but I ended up being the head of projects and governance for the support services division, a £1 billion turnover organisation delivering a portfolio of programs and projects in both business and IT across the world. So that's really where I got many of my scars in project management, program management, and building successful PMO functions. So I left Babcock, went into Companies House, and that's where Icotech started and the journey began, as they say. Icotech today, we're an organisation based in Cardiff Bay. We have a number of customers, particularly in the public sector, so ONS, DEFRA, ACAS, IPO, and BAYS as well. So yeah, really proud to work with some great public sector organisations here in the UK. What we do, we break it down into 4 components. If you haven't seen this, if you have seen this, I apologize for putting you through this again. But we break things down into solutions, services, products, and consulting. So we build Power Platform solutions, and we specialize in project management solutions, portfolio, PPM solutions. Hence why Project for the Web is a key component of that. But we also do standalone products. So we have a few products in healthcare at the moment that are being developed, and we have our kind of support services function as well. So where people are trying to utilize the Power Platform, but they don't necessarily know how to, we'll help with a center of excellence and a support services function for them. Consulting is a bit of a catch-all, so sometimes people ask us to do stuff that we will put into the consulting bucket. But the technology products within 365, so we're a cloud partner, Microsoft Gold partner. We don't do anything else other than that. But we specialize in Project Online and the project stack, of which Project for the Web is part of that, in our view. Power Apps, Power BI, Dynamics 365, everything else in there. All right. So one of the slides I wanted to kind of take us through today was just looking at the options that are available in Microsoft 365 for project management. I won't dive too much into the detail on the left hand side, but it's good when you look at the options and the technology that's available to us, that we look at all the products that we could use if you're going to manage a project. You've got Excel, so we all have used Excel. I have at times for managing a small project, whether it's a garage refit or it's doing something standalone. To-do is another good option, and Planner are all good tools within Microsoft 365 for managing projects. I love Planner, and we do use it heavily here at Icotech. However, it does have its limitations, and I think the future for Planner will be more about you're a group of people. This is BAU activity. Maybe it's a couple of teams getting together. But when you've got a schedule, a plan, and you want a baseline, and you want to assign different hours to a task to 2 different people, that's kind of where Planner will start to lose its capability. And that's just the insight that we have here on top of my kind of personal view for where Planner will go. But it is very much that kind of, I'm not a project manager. I'm a citizen project manager. I've just been asked to go and lead this activity. I'm going to use this to try and collate a set of tasks and put them into a view so that people can comment on that task or kind of I can assign whether it's done or not. And that's what Planner is really good for. The key one I want to start with then really is Project Desktop. So Project Desktop is the Microsoft Project file, MPP file that could be kind of saved onto your desktop, your computer. Some people also save it onto SharePoint, and sometimes I think there's a miscommunication, misterminology. People think that's Project Online because they've saved the project plan on SharePoint, but that's not the case. Microsoft Project is a standalone desktop application that you can create your schedules. Now, 5 years ago, running major programs of business and technology change, we were creating projects in Microsoft Project Desktop, project schedules, project plans, and it's a really, really powerful tool. I've used it for years, being around it, and still don't know all of its features. So there's a lot of standalone activity you can do that's really, really powerful and really good for managing detailed schedules, adding your local resources into your schedule, tracking your progress, your burn downs. You could do agile delivery in Microsoft Project Desktop as well. Budgets, all that kind of good stuff. It's all a really good and comprehensive planning tool. Project Online is where we connect Microsoft Project Desktop with SharePoint. So SharePoint is the kind of document library, database kind of list management, record management system in Microsoft 365, which most of you will probably have heard of. It's combining those together so we can automatically upload a schedule, a Microsoft project schedule, into a repository, and we could take all the data out of that schedule and we could share it across the portfolio. So we could see, say for example, give me all the stage gate 2s across the whole portfolio. It'll take all that from all the project plans because it synchronizes it from Microsoft Project Desktop into SharePoint in the background in an SQL database. But it allows us to do true enterprise-wide portfolio delivery, data collection, resources, project prioritization, portfolio prioritization. We can customize Project Online to do so much more than that. Now, the one on the right is just because it's the newest kid on the block. Really, it's the newest tool in the technology stack from Microsoft. And Project for the Web is what we're going to show you today. It's important to know and to kind of, I guess, for me to articulate that Project for the Web is just the planning component, and it's got far greater potential for integration. So we can plug it in to a lot of different things in the most simplest terms. We can put Project for the Web, into a Power App. We could put Project for the Web into Dynamics 365. We could put Project for the Web into Teams. You can take the planning engine that I'll show you today and deep dive, and you can put it in different places. And so you can either consume it as a standalone service, or you can consume it within another service like Power Apps, Dynamics, or Teams. There's a couple of other ones as well I've forgotten, sorry, but you could take that and utilize that. At a glance, Project for the Web is this kind of interactive ability to create a schedule, assigning multiple resources to a single task, and taking the planner concept, the planner GUI here. You can see the kind of the Kanban board style, which is in Planner. It is familiar to Planner and that solution, but it's also being developed very rapidly to compete with Microsoft Project Desktop. Now, will it ever replace Project Desktop? I don't know. My personal opinion is it will. I think that by the time you need Project Desktop in the future, your schedules will be so big, so comprehensive, and so detailed. I don't think they'll. I think Project for the Web will replace, but don't quote me on that. Microsoft may shout at me for saying that. But the reason it's got such integration potential is that it sits on the same technology that the Power Platform is built on. So you have interaction with Power Automate, Power Apps, Power BI, and Power Virtual Agents if you wanted to. So it sits in that ecosystem, and that's kind of why it's got such fast-paced development behind it and investment behind it. And Microsoft have really started to kind of show great progress. And I get caught out on these webinars because I try and do obviously the research, and then I come to do the webinar a couple of weeks later, and they've released something else, another feature on the tool. So it's an evergreen product that's continually being released and matured and developed by Microsoft, which is great. In terms of the architecture, then, there's a diagram I just created a while ago just to show, I guess, the link between the kind of three core products I talked about earlier. And this is, so I'm going to use my mouse here, but Project a kind of Microsoft Project Desktop. Got to get it right now, haven't I? Because there's too many of them. So this is the standalone project file. So you can, one of the challenges in this space I've had previously is that you had a standalone project that you had to have a project license to access. So I often found in Babcock and in Lloyd's and in Welsh Water, we'd save it as a PDF and send the PDF off to people, or we'd have to pay for a project professional license for the other person to actually interact with my project plan. Absolute nightmare. But yeah, that's the kind of standalone project client that I was talking about earlier on. Then we can use that same project plan connected to Project Online, the PWA Project Web App it's called, and we can publish and we can link that project to Project Online. And that's the old SharePoint architected solution I talked about earlier. And this diagram is trying to show that all the other content, so like your risks, your issues, your benefits, your lessons, your changes, all those things, all those artifacts of a project can be linked then as SharePoint lists to a project site. And there's lots of videos on our YouTube channel about Project Online and what that looks like. I think there's a demo on there as well. So feel free to pop over there and have a look at that. Project for the Web is this product we're talking about now, which is in the same family, hence why it's green. It's in the same family of Microsoft Project Desktop, Project Online, but it's the newest kid on the block, as I said earlier, and it sits within Project Home. So if you want to go and get the project for the web, just hit project.microsoft.com. Obviously, if you've got a license, I wouldn't advise doing it if you're in a large organization. You might not have the license or it's not set up. So, but if you're on your personal machine, then you've got the right permissions to do so. Then hit that URL project.microsoft.com, and you'll be able to get to Project Online, Project for the Web, and Roadmap, which I'll show you a bit later on. And then the bottom right here, you've got the Power Apps. So this is the Power Platform. More particularly in this case, I was trying to articulate when doing this diagram that we can use Power Apps to build a solution around Project for the Web. So we can capture your risks, your issues. We could take projects through life cycles, send off automatic email notifications when a task is closed. The Project for the Web is just the planning component. There's so much more you could do with it, but you have to utilize the Power Platform for that. And then Power BI is connected. You can connect Power BI to Project Online and to the Power App and directly to Project for the Web as well. The diagrams start to get a bit complicated at that point, so I left the arrows out. But as we all know, well, if you know Power BI, you can connect it to pretty much anything. So we do have one customer now that's got Power BI dashboards, and they are connected to all three. So they're connected to kind of standalone projects. They're connected to Project Online and the PPM, the Power PPM solution in Power Apps. So they've got a real enterprise view of all the projects, and it gives the users the freedom to kind of use whatever planning tool they want. So that's pretty cool. I guess the way we turn it on, there is an ability to turn it on. It's something that you have to kind of go through admin settings to produce. We can help you with that if you needed to, and you can create the customizations to the fields if you want to. A very light kind of setup of this. You do need Project Plan 1, and Project Plan 1 I believe is £7.50 a month, but again, if you're in a public sector organization, you'll get a reduced rate on that significantly, but we always recommend you look at Power BI Pro as well, or if you've got E5, you're covered in that. But it does enable project management across the business, and you can create future kind of records, tasks, columns, and then with Power BI you can use fully configurable dashboards. The next slide is just to kind of, as an current ex portfolio manager, you can use different components of what I've just shown you there for different things when running your portfolio. So, and I've color coded these circles based on the product. So the top product there is project scheduling. So that's fully within Project for the Web. It's just there. You can now do resource management in Project for the Web. Depends how detailed you want to go, and I'll show you that in a minute. You can assign a person to a task and assign hours to that, and you can do some of that resource management in Project for the Web. You can do the team collaboration element, so you can share your project with multiple people using the kind of inbuilt controls, and you can do a little bit of demand management in Project for the Web. I was debating whether to turn this green or purple. Actually, on reflection, it probably should have gone purple, because The Project Accelerator, which is the kind of Microsoft simplified starter pack, has a bit of demand management in there as well for that, but that is on the Power Platform as in a Power App. And then the Power App can be used to do your RAID logs, all your artifacts of your projects, and you could do your time recording in the Power App as well. You could do your capacity planning, so where you've got like I've got X amount of BAs, or I've got 15 solution architects. You could do all that in the Power App engine that sits behind it. And then you can do the dependency management in Power Apps as well. You could do dependency management for project-related tasks in Project for the Web. So you can say this project is task is related on this, dependent on that, and you could create that. But you can do more with the Power App engine itself. And then Power BI, we often see Power BI used as project reporting. So giving my status report, giving my my risk kind of analysis across the portfolio, and the prioritization is done in Power BI as well. So and that's just how kind of Project for the Web can be used in a true enterprise portfolio management system. Has anybody got any questions? Does anybody want to write any questions in the chat window, meeting chat, or raise your hand, and I can come and ask a question. Notice I've been on send for 20 minutes. No questions at all. Cool. As I say, these things are recorded, so if you want to go back and watch these later on, and please do feel free to do so. Cool. So the benefits of Project for the Web. So for us, it's about simple. Simple is best in this example. If you have got, even if you've got a 400-line schedule, I mean, I'm not sure I'd put it in Project for the Web yet, Jennifer. If it's a 400-line schedule, I don't know how I feel about that one. But if it's 50 lines, 60-line schedule, then that's pretty much where Project for the Web sits. You can assign tasks to team members, and you can see all the risk and issues, obviously subject to having the Power App enabled on the outside of that. And you can do resourcing in Project for the Web as well, which I'll show you in a minute. And then Power BI, the benefit of it, you can use it connected to Power BI, and you can say, give me all my tasks, all my project across Project for the Web, the portfolio, and give me the start and end date, and give me some metrics and reporting on that data. And I guess the key benefit is it does integrate with multiple Microsoft 365 products as well. So it is in the Power Platform, but I mean it's in Microsoft 365 kind of fundamentally. So you have the ability to integrate with SharePoint and other services like that. Okay. I think the other benefit that's not on there that probably should be is that it's growing, it's developing, it's continually improving. So if you're moving to Project Online as a product, you're on the right path for getting a really powerful product in the future. Project Desktop got released in versions and packaged in versions, and this is a different world altogether now. You'll go in there one day and you'll see a new field appear and a new capability and a new feature, and you'll receive that from your existing license fee, which is great. So demo of Project Online. Hey, sorry, Project for the Web. Right, so I'm gonna transition. Here we go. Look at that. Hopefully you can see my screen. What I should have started up here, just project.microsoft.com. A lot of people will start here for the first time, but you can, start obviously directly from a existing project plan. Great question. Not particularly in Project for the Web, as I understand it now, but obviously it's all backed up. It's all available 99.95% of the time, as Microsoft would quote. So yeah, we've never really had any issues with backup. You could, if you wanted to, do a data copy, but that would be a hell of a Power Automate or Logic app to copy all the records of all the tasks and all the plans across your project home environment. But yeah, thanks for the question. So here you can go to Project Online, which is your old kind of SharePoint architected solution, which I won't go into because I get distracted. You can see all your projects here. So you can see this is a kind of project environment where we've got projects in here that we're tracking. We've got a roadmap as well, which I'll come on to show you later on. And then you've got the project for the web, like the project I created earlier on. So I click in here, he says, and this is project for the web. All right. But what I wanted to show you before I deep dive into this is that you can see if my mouse is a typical battery is dying. You can see I created another demo here, and I'm going to click in this. I'm just going to show you that this component, which is project for the web, this whole frame can sit in another service. So I'm going to load a demo of Dynamics 365 environment, which is project operations in this case, and this is using project for the web to create this schedule. I'm just trying to bring it into context for you, because so almost this is a project for the web plan, but it's plugged into Dynamics 365 project operations. All right, so and we could do loads of cool, exciting things like tracking estimates, resource reconciliations, resource assignments. It gets really detailed into that, but that's kind of future stuff. That's not beginner stuff. We could do resource assignments, so you can see I'm here on the initiation demo, giving me hours per week. That is proper, like, detailed enterprise portfolio management, billing, charging, all that kind of good stuff. But I just wanted to show you that an example of where a project for the web plan is integrated or available within another service. Right? So so the demo really is about building a schedule. I think the tool is a basic scheduling tool, as Jennifer referenced. It used to be 500 lines, and as I said earlier, I probably wouldn't use it for more than 50. It's just my preference. But you can create these tasks here. So we're going to create a task 1 or task 10 or task 40, whatever it is, and you can indent, and you can move the tasks, make them subtasks or not, which is one of the things you couldn't do before, but you can do now. And so what I like to do is to create my little schedule and have all my tasks, my stages first, and my tasks underneath that. It's just about building your schedule, promoting tasks, making them subtasks, and so on and so forth. All right. You can assign these tasks to individuals. So poor Craig, bless him, he's going to get a number of notifications. Actually, no, I'll use Richard, because Craig's probably really busy. So I'll use Richard. And what I could do here is I can assign Richard to task 1. All right. So what it's telling me here is that the project overall hasn't been shared with anybody. So I'm the only person who has access to this. So just like in Planner and in other 365 services, you'll be able to kind of control who sees what. So if I just click just assign, all that does is just assign him. He doesn't actually get a notification. But if I click add to group, I'm adding into the project refresh Office 365 group that's created in the background that allows him to come into this group and do other things as well in the future. So for example, if I had a project team site in Teams, call project refresh, those two will sync if I create it properly later on, and that's kind of more complex again. But you can add them to the team site in Teams so that you can collaborate, chat, all that kind of good stuff. But here, this is the group name. This is a private group. All right, it's not a public group in this example. And I'm actually going to go and create that, and I'm going to assign Richard to this task, and he gives me his picture. So you can have multiple levels of subtasks if that's the question. So. But the only problem is it's saying here you can't add resources to that summary task. So yeah, but I think that answers your question, Wendy. I hope so. But you can have multiple layers. You could go down here and kind of make that tree so that these all sit within stage 1. Cool, awesome. Cool. So yeah, you've got these multiple levels of tasks. And then we can do some other things as well, like I'm going to assign Richard back to this one. So plus he's already in my group because I've added him to this previous one. He's going to go into that one. I'm also going to give myself this one, and so on and so forth. What we can do then, let me need to complete that. Sorry. What we could do then is we could do, duration. So you've got your duration, which is your length of your task, and your effort, which is the time it's going to take you to do that task within that duration. Sorry, I think I completely explained that correctly. And you can almost set these now. So you go 4 hours to do the task over 1 day. And again, kind of 6 months ago, you weren't able to differentiate the two. So that's an example of where recently you've been able to break that mold of duration versus effort. Before, it was you put 1 day's duration, it would force you to put 1 day of effort, which was a nightmare for you when you're managing a project. What you could do here then is you can start to add in your other fields. So you'll notice percentage complete is a standard project field, really, isn't it? Your start and your finish as well. All right, so you can select your start date. Let's make it next week. No worries, Jennifer. Thank you for joining. And we can make this 5 days. And then what will happen is our finish will update as well. Let's just make sure that's correct. So yeah, 31st to 4th. Yep. All right, and it's 20 hours, but actually I'm still going to take 4 hours. So it's going to take me more duration. So you're building up your resource schedule, and what that's doing in the background, as it does in Microsoft Project, is it builds up your resource forecast against that task. Then, all right, you can do a whole number of things. If you open the details, so you click on the 3 dots here, and click on Open Details, you get this pane that comes out to the right. Again, this is forever changing, and then one of the most recent changes is this checklist. Yeah, I get a bit lost with the checklist on a task myself, because to me that's a task within a task. So just make it a subtask, but that's just me. You'll notice that that's a plannerism, which is do the plan is the first checklist item, then update and present, get approval at board. So yeah, all these kind of things, these checklist items are now subtasks of tasks. Checklists of tasks. Yeah, gets confusing. To me, I would just put those things underneath that as indented subtasks. Yeah, but hey, we'll leave Microsoft to give us lots of cool tech to play with. So effort. This is the effort completed versus the effort remaining. So you could go in here now and say, okay, well, I've actually done 1 hour. Yeah, and I've actually still got 3 hours remaining. See, it calculated that for me, but actually it's taken me a hell of a lot longer because this document is way longer than I thought it was going to be. So now it's going to be 8 hours to complete it. So you could do your whole completed remaining effort equals your total, or you could overwrite it in here and just keep doing your totals from your effort calculations. So you could do dependency management, and you could even, as I said earlier, start adding this into a Teams channel to start communicating with team members and project teams. Like Richard, I could communicate with him in a Teams channel here, and you can add attachments as well. So we're going to add a dependency. I'm going to make this dependent on what are we going for? Stage task 4. So task 4 is called task. Yeah, I should change that. The record line number 4 is called task 3, and you can see there I went in and I just created that link, and you can search for the task itself. So I can search for task 40. One of the things I know is coming is they're going to change some of this labeling because it's not quite clear. The task number is 8, and it gets a bit confusing at times. So I know that's in the roadmap for future enhancements at the moment. You can add notes. So this is a great task. Go in, amazing. Well, whatever. So yeah, you can put these kind of attributes in here, and you can furthermore you can add more people to the task as well. All right, so that's your kind of details. You can do lots of other things in here. You can copy a link to a task. So one of the things that I like to use is if I've got a task in a schedule and I'm talking about the specific task in a Teams chat, I'll copy the link to the task, chuck it in the Teams chat, and then say, "Hi Richard, hi Craig. This is the one I'm actually on about this task. Where are we with this? How do we get this going ASAP?" All right. So your ability then to track these things. So I added in the detail page, I added the dependency, but here it's showing what the dependency is. Again, if I wanted to add the dependency in this way, I've got multiple ways of doing the same thing. So I can actually hit number 6, and because I'm pointing at the screen, number 6 here, because I know this is task 6. My task 40 is dependent on that. So I'm going to go and just hit number 6 and hit enter, and then it'll move out to the right. All right. So again, I make this 5 days in duration. It'll update my finish date then. for here. Right. One of the things you'll notice here is that, and if you've played around Microsoft Project Desktop, calendars are a nightmare. Calendars, which task is following which calendar. And one of the most recent features, again, is the ability to change the calendar in which the project schedule is working from. So if you have a custom project schedule, a custom project calendar, because you have maybe different days off or different working patterns, we can create those in the background for you. It's a little bit more work, but you can do that. You can go and set them up in 365 to do that. Start dates, again, of the overall project details page, you're saying this is the start of a project, and everything else will run from that start date. And here you can assign your project manager as well, which is cool. And that's a really good feature, because project manager used to be called project owner in Project Online, if anybody's used that. So nice that they've actually now called it the project manager, which is more accurate. So yeah, if you had a different project calendar attached to that project, it would follow a different rhythm, and therefore if Monday the 7th was a bank holiday, it would automatically move that task to Tuesday the 8th, in that exact example. Yeah, buckets, another one that we kind of use, and it is more from Planner again. So it's the ability to say this is actually, you know, a testing project, or a testing, a task, or a development task. But you could change the bucket here, so you could say actually this is say the test team. All right, this might be the development team. HR team, cool. And you can go over here, and you can then assign these tasks to these teams. I'm going to apologise again, because I recognise I'm not doing a great job of this one, but I'm feeling sorry for myself because I'm not feeling very well from my jab yesterday. So if anybody missed my sob story at the start of the session, I'm going to persevere though, because we're having fun. But yeah, in the board here, you can drag and drop these tasks over. So I'm going to put all these tasks into the development team bucket, and then when I go back to my grid, they will all be in development. So it's an interactive, collaborative way of creating a schedule a bit better in that sense than Microsoft Project Desktop. The other feature then is the timeline feature. So we can zoom out of this timeline feature, and we can see all the tasks that we've just created, and we've just assigned to Richard. So Richard's going to be late on delivering his task, so I'm going to make him a couple of days late. Sorry, Richard. And it's going to move that over there. All right. You can move these back and forward, and you can do all these crazy things. To be honest with you, this is a bit of a, I'm not too kind of fond of this kind of planning window here. To me, it just makes more sense just to have the grid, and to just create your schedule in this view. But some people might want to move and drag and drop and interact with these kind of tasks. As you can see, it's a bit fiddly, and it needs a bit of a, patience and a bit of working through. Actually, I'm going to start that plan here, or that task here, and I move that one out to the right. So on and so forth. There's a few things coming in this space as well, which will make it a little bit better. I'm trying to create a dependency between two tasks. As you can see, I'm frantically trying to move these things across. If I open that up, there we go. So I'm going to try and make, oh god, this is going to be hard. You can make you can actually drag, there we go. See the buttons? So I'm making task 40 dependent on task 1. Yeah, so I just did that by hovering over, clicking that little button there, and dragging it down into that place, and into the start of that task. You can even, testing app. You can create the tasks from here. Click the I button, get all that data out again, and then start building a schedule, and so on and so forth. All right. But yeah, it's that bit is a bit more clunky for me. The benefit is really the boards and the grid element of it. All right. You can export to Excel as well, which is another new feature. So you can move all those kind of records and lines to Excel. You can copy the project. So if you've got a template, for example, you want to go and take that as a template and then copy it and call it something else, you can do that. You can add it into Teams, as I said earlier. You can move across the Teams, and of course that's how you get to the project details. We could change your calendar, change your effort, and so on and so forth. All Any other questions about the capability? Is there anything somebody wants to show me, challenge me? Because it'd be nice to just to make sure I answer all your questions. The other thing to think about is, and the key bit really is, say 6 months ago you weren't able to add your own columns or your own fields into Project for the Web, so you were stuck with really the out-of-the-box fields, and dependencies wasn't even there when it got first got released. So yeah, now dependencies is there, and you've got other fields and other columns in here. You can actually go and create your own. I believe it's 10. I think create 10 custom fields. So if you want to go and say yes and no, let's call it, what should we call it? We'll call it baseline. That's a bad example. Let's call it started. Let's call it started. I can't think of an example. But this is about saying, yes, no indicator to these tasks. So maybe I'm going to say yes and so on and so forth to these. It probably in reality I'll use it for something far better than whether the task is started or not. But just wanted to give you an example and make sure it's clear for us to see on here. Now you can do a choice. So you could say, so is this, or you could put the rag in here, right? So you put your red, amber, or green. You can do your brags or whatever else other people need to see in here as well. I'm actually gonna, just because I'm gonna edit the column. So you click on the did I say hide? I didn't mean to say hide. Here we go. Here's my column there. All right. And then I'm going to go edit the column, drop down, edit. I'm going to add another choice because we're gonna rag blue, and the blue's going to be completed. I could love a blue, and then you can start tagging these then as the different rags for each project. I've lost my project title, so I'm going to move across to the right, condense these fields here. So it's quite interactive. You can see, and we now use this at Icotec for all engagements. Have in our live kind of PPM solution, we have a Project for the Web schedule for each of these. Integrations are great as well, so we can integrate with DevOps, so you can integrate tasks with DevOps. Some other things that you can't quite do yet are the baseline feature. So you out of the box, you can't do baseline anyway, but in the future we'll be able to do that, and we could do it in the Power App as well, so an associated Power App around the outside of it. And other things will come in the future, like icons, so you'll be able to make that red, amber, green like an icon. So rather than actually seeing the word red, you'll be able to see like a kind of picture or an image in there as well, which is cool. So yeah, that's the ability to create these new fields, and to you can do numbers as well. So if you wanted to kind of do costs, you can roll up the numbers. So if you wanted to put a cost per line, if you wanted to, you could start to do an average of the costs, or it gives you the ability to do the freedom that wasn't here before in Project. And I think unless you've got a kind of real heavy schedule with 300 lines in it, and you're resourcing by the assignment, not the task, in Project Desktop. If you're in that space when you're building those schedules, then of course Project for the Web is not for you yet. It will be in the future. But you can connect those project files with the PPM solution, and then have a subset of projects, and using Project for the Web that might be a more standard 15-line projects and or 20-line project plans, and then you're bringing it together in the PPM solution, Power PPM solution, and Power BI to see everything, all the projects across the organization. That's the kind of standard that is followed at the moment. So you could do a roll up, and you could do your name of your field. I don't know, let's call it cost. Yeah, or let's call it cost for now. Again, other developments in the future, we'll talk about kind of forecast versus budget versus actual costs. All that will come into Project for the Web in the future. But again, it's available now in a configured Power App, so you've got the flexibility to do that in that sense. So I'm now going to go and put 20. It's not currency. It's a number in this case. So it doesn't But the point is, I'm just showing the type of fields that are available to you. Really. All right. Any questions on any of that stuff? Have I covered? I think I've covered everything in terms of Project for the Web. It's not a comprehensive tool. It's not got loads of features. Everybody's on the call today. If you've never used it, I mean, with this video, watching this back, plus half an hour dabbling in it, you'll be able to use Project for the Web itself. As I say, it's just a basic project management solution that I think is better than Planner for managing projects. It's got more capability in there, and it's more like a standalone a project management solution that we're used to. You can go back home here, and the other thing I just want to show you is roadmaps. So roadmaps, you'll note, was on the slide deck earlier. Roadmaps is the ability to go and create kind of these big kind of visual schedules and bring in rows from different projects. All right, so I can connect a project here, and I can bring in project refresh. I can bring in the tasks that are associated, or a task on its own, and I can connect to that, and I can visualize it in a more of a portfolio plan. That's kind of where it's trying to go, is to build a roadmap of your tasks and activities. So I can maybe just give you the stages rather than tasks underneath them. Bring that in here. I'm going to be the owner of this. Here we go. And then, that's my project refresh is on my roadmap, and I'm going to zoom in so it makes it look a bit more useful. And then I might layer that on top of other projects as well. All right. Cool. That's Project for the Web, guys. That's really it. It's not a lot more I can show you. Yeah, as I said, the key bit really is a core planning tool for medium complexity project plans, and it's growing, kind of evolving as a product set, as Microsoft are pushing more and more development into it. All these other rows, all these other columns are available, so you could do your effort completed, your outline number, but really that's kind of what we use it for, and what our customers use it for. All right. Are there any other questions at all? I'm happy to answer any, or to kind of show you something else. If you did have any questions, please do use the meeting chat. And hopefully now I've shown you, you can see where that project schedule is sitting within Microsoft Dynamics here, 365 Dynamics, and you can use the same board feature, so you can drag and drop these across, and somebody could access this project plan then using project.microsoft.home as well. All these features are available as per the kind of the standard demo I've just shown you, really. So the projects here, dev environment, not tested, Nikki, or anybody else is watching this, so please do not shout at me for anything that pops up here. There we go. Here's Toby's test project, bless him. So this is the Power App that sits on top of Project for the Web. All right, so this is the task board as it did earlier in Project Online. Typical, I think this is blocked, so let me just enable this for the first time. So say we're in a sandbox environment, so that task list would pop up just like that there. See how they're similar. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Here we go. So what you do then is you'll have the ability, Nikki, to add your risks and your issues into the associated project within the Power App. So that's how Microsoft intend this thing to kind of be used. Project for the Web is just the scheduling engine, and then you would use a Power App, either developed by Icotec or by whoever, to go and build your kind of risk management, benefits management system around the outside. And the benefit of that then is it's totally configurable to your requirements. So I hope, Nikki, that makes sense. And I guess that's the kind of the nuance, is that it's totally kind of customizable. You can create either a template from Project Accelerator, which is like a really basic kind of model-driven Power App, and then Icotec have got our own kind of template, which is IcoPlan, which is what we've kind of created. And then if I understand the question correctly, if you click on New Project, then that is a template that's been created. Yeah, really bad demo here because it hasn't got anything else in it. But you know, the risk RAID log has been digitized from Excel basically into this kind of this form factor. And so when you click this new project, and my project's called, you know, demo project 1, it'll actually go. I'm going to try and save it. It probably won't let me save, but it'll create the project for the web schedule now in the background, and then link it through, and then it creates all those artifacts then in the system. Yeah, so now my demo project 1 is my project I just created 2 seconds ago, and I go and click in it, and I'm going to go and, you know, access my task board here, which is, it would normally come up in project for the web. Here we go, it's working now. So yeah, that's my task list. And again, you can template the schedule as well. So in this Power App wrapper, you can have this create a copy of a template project plan, and then all the tasks are added in. And then you'd have a template RAID log here as well. So this is my risk log with all my kind of fields in it. So risk that this demo fails. Again, you know, it's linked to that project. It's an opportunity. Yes, it's an opportunity. You can do all this kind of stuff, and that's the art or the benefit. You can do your 5x5 model. Gives you your RAG when you save it. Hopefully, there we go. So it gives us a little RAG, and I think when we go back to the other page now, it'll give us a kind of icons and that kind of thing. All right. So hopefully that helps, Nikki, and I guess that's the benefit of Project for the Web, is that you know, you can plug it into your project management system, and you can do it quite simply, you know, or a medium kind of complexity, as this is what I'd say medium, or you could go and develop something like we've done for Baze, which is mental and massive and got loads of different artifacts, and spend kind of invoices and APIs and workflows and all that kind of great stuff, cool stuff with Power Platform. Cool. If anybody's got any questions, feel free to email me. You can contact us at info@icotechservices.co.uk. I hope that has been useful. I hope I didn't go too much into the detail, and I hope I didn't fail too much. Please do forgive me. As I said, third time, I won't say it again, but I'm not feeling 100% today. But I wanted to crack on with the webinar and do it anyway. Just other webinar events coming up from Icotech. Lauren will shout at me if I don't cover these off. Thank God I remembered. We're doing Teams, the latest Teams feature. So there's lots of stuff going on in Teams as well. I could put in these plans into Teams. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Lisa. Glad you found it useful. And then with the Power Platform benefits as well. So Power Platform is growing massively, as you can imagine. And then there's another workshop later on in April for project, a Microsoft project for the web. So we'll do it in more detail. I hope you all enjoyed that. Thank you very much for your interaction, your questions. We do love to see people and come back to these sessions and the questions as well. I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna go and take some paracetamols and have a cup of tea. But hopefully you guys have a great evening and found the session useful. Thank you for attending, and hopefully catch you on the next one. Thanks so much. Bye bye.